Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Jay, here to talk the movie Squid Game. Yo, this movie Squid Game is incredible. To me, if I had to compare it to a film that's already out that we already know about, I would compare it to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Yeah, you heard it right. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. This movie is sort of like Willy Wonka. This movie is sort of like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. The only thing different is instead of offering chocolate, they offer death. And the characters are very similar. You have Charlie in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and you have this guy whose name is. Okay, bear with me, they're Korean names, so. Okay, yeah. Good morning, Lisa. I watched it yesterday. Ging Ho, Ging Hong, who is he's a down on his luck father. His baby's mother is not letting him see his child. She's threatening to take him to the United States, and his mother has diabetes, and they're about to amputate his leg, her leg. So he has to find a way to provide for his family and to provide for himself. He's basically nothing has ever happened for him good. He's similar to the Charlie character. So then he hears about this Squid Game. So he decides to participate. Another character, a girl, is a North Korean escapee. She escaped from North Korea and she's now in South Korea. And but her mother was captured in China and deported back to South Korea. So her main objective is um to get her mother. That's why she's after the prize money. Another guy is a gangster who is in debt to his his gangster boss. He gambled away a lot of money in the Philippines, and he is after the money. So all of these individuals are after the money. Similarly to Willy Wonka, many of them are self-centered, many of them are bratty. There's this one lady. It doesn't explain. It doesn't explain what she's in there for, but she's kind of like Veruca Salt in um uh she's kind of like Veruca Salt in Squid Game. I mean, in the Willy Wonka, she's all bratty, she's all demanding, and her fate is funny. But the basic gist of it is they all have to compete for $5 million, and they have to go through the various kid games that they were all used to playing as kids. And each time they fail at these kid games, the one who fails The one who that fails is eliminated, quote unquote, killed off. So the first game is red light, green light. The second game, they gotta get they have this sugar mold and they gotta get a shape out of the cracker in time. If they don't get it in time enough, they die. Another one is where they're flickering the it's late at night and they're flickering the lights and they only fed them an egg and a toast and they're agitated and they're hungry and they're going at each other starting to fight. And what it's really showing you is the greed, the capitalistic greed of modern day Korean or even American society. Each one of these individuals want to do something for their families. There's this one guy, his mother owns a squid shop and she's in debt and she put it all on the line for him to go to college. And now he gambled it all away on stocks and bonds and futures. And he can't go to college. And he can no longer go to college. But he doesn't have the heart to tell his mother that he gambled all the money away. So what's he going to do? He's going to go to play the Squid Game. And he's going to try to win. But at this point, they become so greedy that they're willing to turn on each other. This elderly man, who I'm not going to give away what's competing in the game, he is the partner of Gin Yoon, the main character, when they're doing marbles. And the whole objective of it is whoever has less marbles loses. But Gun Young cannot give himself to take all of the old man's marbles because he knows the fate, what will happen to the old man once the old man dies. Once the old man doesn't have any more marbles anymore, he dies. So as they're playing the marble game, they're walking around their old neighborhood, and the old man is like, man, I remember when I was with my wife and our neighborhood looked like this. And Gunyon is like, come on, come on. We got to get, or, we got to get rid of these marbles in a certain time limit. If not, if nobody's left standing with any of the marbles, we'll both be dead. But the guy keeps stalling and the guy keeps stalling, and Gwen Young then yells at him. And Gwen Young's like, come on, come on, come on. Let's get started. Let's get started playing the marble game to see who comes out on top. Because if we don't, we'll both be eliminated. And then the old man just looks at Gwen Young and been like, stop yelling at me. Stop yelling at me. And then the part when they feed him just the egg and toast and they put him to bed at night and they all got to fight it out. Each of them starts to form gangs. And one tough gangster guy, he gets together with a lot of other tough gangster guys and he starts to form a gang and he starts to steal extra food from those that are disadvantaged. And then when the lights go out and the lights start flickering and they start battling each other and start killing each other, the old man, this part stuck with me. The older man says, I'm scared. I'm scared. Because at one point it was fun. At one point it was just red light, green light. Now it's turned to something sinister where they have to actually kill each other. The smart guy who went to college, whose mother owns the squid shop, he outsmarts this one Pakistani immigrant who only has 3 fingers. The Pakistani immigrant only has 3 fingers because okay, yeah, Lisa is spelling out the games. He only has 3 fingers because he stole something in this country. But anyway, the guy that's the doctor outsmarts him because they have the marbles around their neck. And instead of putting in the marbles, he puts in rocks. So by the time he gets to the end of it, it's nothing but rocks there. Man, and the movie leads you to believe that these two are going to be friends because when they leave the first time, it was this guy Samu who paid for Ali Abdullah's bus ticket. So it leads you to believe that these two are going to be friends. No, but the game that I say, the final game, when it comes down to the two that are growing up in childhood, Yin Yong and Samu, right? The Squid Game, when they have to battle it out to the death. That's the one. That's the one that's where it turns really serious. But even then, he cannot, Gunyun cannot bring himself to kill his best friend that he had grown up with and mentored with. The twist ending of who's behind it all and what that has to do with the Korean police department, I'm not going to give that away. But let's just say it is very similar to the twist ending that is in Willy Wonka. The guy causing all the madness is the man behind it all. Yep, but yeah, the games are Recruiter Game, Red Light, Green Light, Dungy Pungy, Tug of War, Marbles. The glass game was very interesting, Lisa, because you had to identify which was fiberglass and which was regular glass. And only one guy was a glass maker. But okay, Lisa, you gave the ending away. Lisa gave the surprise ending away. But yeah, the older man was behind it all. And he decided that he was going to create this game so he could relive his childhood in Korea. So that's basically what it is. That's basically what it's about. It's about the ruthless competition of Korean capitalism and the ruthless competition of American capitalism and Chinese capitalism and Western capitalism in general, and how we'll destroy each other, how friendships will be destroyed, how relationships will be destroyed, how bonds will be destroyed in order for that savage animalistic nature of greed to manifest itself. So in a way, it is a take on Willy Wonka, how these kids felt like they would do anything to get this Willy Wonka the chocolate factory, but instead of the chocolate, it's money. Okay, yeah, all the games we played as American. No, Lisa, I gotta disagree with that. We played red light, green light. We played marbles. We played a few other of those games, but wasn't none of us playing no Squid Game. You know, we wasn't fighting to the death in no Squid Game. You know, like, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know what block, I don't know what block you was living on, but where I was living, we wasn't fighting to no death in Squid Game. If we did, our moms would call us in for dinner right before, right before it about to expire. You know, so. Squid Game is a game of death. You know, yeah. So, and the thing is, guys, it's got to be a part two to this series because Gwyn Yin goes back. Hopscotch, yes. Gwyn Yin dyes his hair red, goes back, gets the girl's brother that was in the detainee camp for being an illegal immigrant, and he goes back to play the game. So it's got to be a part two to it. But this was a tremendous series. A lot of people misjudge it, like I did at first, because because they see it as, oh, just Korean people, just Asian people. They think it's gonna be something like Parasite, but absolutely not. Does it touch a little bit on politics? The relationship between North Korea and South Korea does too. There's this one scene where the two girls that are doing the marble game, she says, "Man, I haven't seen this much death since the replay of the Korean War." And the girl that's from North Korea says, "Well, why don't you play a replay?" And then she proceeds to talk about how her family escaped from communist North Korea to come to South Korea. But then the South Korean girl, we think, oh, well, she has it all good. Like people in communist countries oftentimes think, people in Western countries got it all good. We don't have no problems. But her father, the one from North Korea, right? Her father was a pastor and he was always abusing her mother. So one day she got so tired of it that she grabbed the knife and she stabbed her own father. And that's how she became an atheist. Because there's this one scene where this guy's a real Christian, right? A Protestant Christian, and he's in there praying. And she's like, oh, why don't you shut up with all that God stuff? It wasn't God that saved us from tug of war. It was this old man, and it was the craftiness of us. And you wonder, well, why is she so? Why is she so? Why does Why does she have so much animosity towards God? And then we find out later. There's no subtitles, Lisa. Um, excuse me. Then we find out later. Well, she hates God because her father was a pastor and her father abused her mother, and she herself had to kill her father. And she goes back to these to these ambitions, what she would do if she won the game. She would go to Maldives. If she would vacation here, she vacation there. But really, the one that needs it is the one with the brother in the detainee camp, the one with the mother in North Korea, the one who is struggling to get from a communist country to a free country. But then again, you look at North Korea, you look at South Korea, where they're at, and you think to yourself, how free is a really free country? I mean, Green Yin himself, he has memories before he went to the camp. He has a lot of memories. They had a they had a labor they had a labor strike in the job he was working at. And in that labor strike, the government came in and they killed several people. The incident was so large that he was unable to see the birth of his daughter, and he remembers that. So even in a free country, it's not free. Even in a free country like North Korea, South Korea, the government will still come down on you. The government is still oppressive. So yeah, the South Korean people have it harder and have it easier than the Pakistani man or the North Korean girl or the Chinese woman. But they don't have it perfectly either. They're struggling on their own too. And they'll do anything to get this money. Another thing I noticed, the white people in this movie. The white people in this movie are portrayed as evil. They are foreign tourists from Europe, foreign tourists from the United States, foreign tourists from Australia, and they are the ones watching over the Squid Game. They're placing bets and they view it like horse racing. And they even go there, to have sex with some of the male participants, some of the male guards, and some of the male gamers. A couple of homosexual, uh, gay older white men. In fact, there's this one scene where he says, "Well, what number are you betting on?" And the guy says, "I bet on 96." He says, "Why 96?" He said, "Because he said because I love 69, but that's out the question." A dirty joke. So he takes the guy who's an undercover cop to the back to try to have sex with him. He says, "You please me, I will please you by giving you the VIP list of all these white Westerners that are coming in." Long story short, he cuts his balls off. So the white people in this movie are portrayed as the ultimate manipulators, the ultimate evil in this. The ones, besides the old man who wanted to relive his childhood through these games. Okay, Hunger Games, Lisa, but that's in other people's in other people's estimation. This is my video review. This is what I say. What came to mind in my video, in my mind. I didn't see Hunger Games, so I don't know about how it could compare to Hunger Games. But when I saw Squid Game, to me, it reminded me of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So you could disagree. That's the beauty of YouTube. That's the beauty of video making. That's the beauty of you being my co-host. We can disagree. That's my opinion. Anyway, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell button to see when my next video is coming out. Thank you. Love you.